Hello and welcome to Frances Works In, the vlog where one 20-something lives as a working artist. Today, we are discussing summer stocks. First off, what is a summer stock anyway? A summer stock is a theater that operates exclusively in the summertime and usually has a slate of 3 to 6 shows in the summertime. It's usually staffed by mostly college students, and it's just a really fun way to kind of get experience, do some fun summer stuff, and, get paid for it, build up that portfolio. So now we know what a summer stock is, but how do we start working in one? Well, that is a process that is a lot like working in any theater. I'm gonna go over the process that I had in getting to the summer stock that I work in right now. It's a little unique and you'll see why, but I think, I think it'll give you a good idea of how you get started. So to work in a summer stock, a lot of it is like working in any theater. You start with applications, then you go through an interview process, you get hired, and you come work there. Pretty standard stuff. My journey to the summer stock that I'm working at right now was, had some twists and some turns. So, summer stock applications usually start going up on the theater job websites in late December, early January. The hiring range for summer stocks is anywhere from like the middle of December until April. I think I got one summer stock job in the middle of April, which is pretty late. Usually it's like January to March is like a pretty standard application cycle for summer stocks. So this one, I was working as an apprentice, and you want to leave your apprenticeship on a high note. So of course I was looking for summer stock jobs. I was looking for full-time jobs and I was looking for summer stock jobs, but the summer stock jobs get listed first. So I was applying. It was, January, it was February. I applied to, I don't even remember. I applied to a bunch of summer stocks, probably more than 10. And, I got interviews for 4 or 5 of them, which is a pretty good turnout, I think, because there were definitely some that were like bigger, like bigger festivals, like Shakespearean festivals that have a lot of like pretty experienced professionals working in them. So like those ones were kind of long shots. But I applied for about 10 and I got I think 4 or 5 interviews. And this was one of them. And I had that interview. It went like really well. I kind of thought that it didn't. No, I thought it went well, but like a little awkwardly, because at one point I asked if they covered travel, because that wasn't listed in the job call. So I asked if they covered travel, and my interviewer got like, I don't know, kind of like skittish, and was like, well, we don't usually, but I can see if we can make that work. And I was like, it's gonna be okay. Like, I'm not demanding this. I just want to know. But it actually worked out because I got a job offer for this summer stock, and in the email with the job offer, he said like, and we can cover your cost of travel. We'll do mileage reimbursement for it, which was amazing. So thank you to my summer stock. So I had this job lined up. I was very excited. I think it was late February of 2020. So I was like, I had my summer stock position. I was ready to start looking for full-time positions and not have to worry about summer stock. And then, as we all know, March 2020 happened, and theaters were one of the first businesses to shut down. So I got graduated early from my apprenticeship. I got sent home. I got a bunch of emails from the summer stock that I had already signed a contract with, saying, they were looking into it. They were postponing their season at first, and then as we got longer into quarantine, they canceled the season altogether. But with that email saying that they canceled the season, they also said that if we were still available, that once they could open, they would love to, still hire everybody that they had contracted for that season, which was really nice because they didn't have to do that. They could just say, sorry guys, sucks. And they didn't. So, the whole year of quarantining happened, and I kind of had forgotten about this summer stock, honestly. Well, I remembered that I was supposed to work there, but I had kind of I wasn't sure who was opening. I wasn't sure what seasons were going to look like. So I was kind of putting feelers out for summer stocks that I had seen advertising. And then I got an email in probably mid-March saying that they had decided to have a season and that it would be truncated. They usually do 5 shows. I think it's 5. They usually do 5 shows in a regular season, and this time they were doing 2 and a recorded version of one they had done during the school year, because this is based on a college. And asking if I was interested in still working that season. And I was very excited because it was a job I didn't have to go through cover letters and resumes and interviews for. And I said, yes, of course, I will be signed on. We did an informational interview with the production director, and he was really nice and laid out it's going to be less money because it's less shows, but we'll still cover travel. It's still housing. Here's the COVID policies that we have intact, and it sounded like they had really good safety protocols. It sounded like they were trying to, take care of all these people that were going to work for them. So I was really excited and I accepted. And now I'm here. So that was that was a very long, very exciting journey to where I'm working right now. When you are looking for a summer stock, there are a couple things you should be looking for to see if it is a good summer stock, because there are definitely some that are going to try to take advantage of you, because usually you're a college student or a really young professional who's trying to sort of get that experience in so they can get hired in bigger theaters. My list of things that I always look for to make sure that it's a good summer stock is, first of all, 2 hots and a cot. Summer stocks don't usually pay by the hour. So they usually pay a stipend, which doesn't always work out to a living wage or that much money. So if they're a good summer stock, then they're going to house you and they're going to feed you so that you can take home all of the stipend that they have for you. And a lot of summer stocks are based on college campuses, so that makes it really easy for them to feed and house you because they have that infrastructure already worked in. But some aren't, and they should still be housing and feeding you. Usually it'll be lunch and dinner, and then sometimes they'll have a grab and go breakfast or just things in a kitchen that you can access. Sometimes you get hot breakfast too. The one that I'm at right now, we have a hot meal for every meal of the day, which is really nice. You don't always get that, but at least 2 is the standard. The second thing is money. Make sure they're paying you. Housing and feeding you is great, but they need to be paying you at least something with all of that. So a stipend, usually it's small. I've made usually between $2,000 and $3,000, but I've also been first hands, which is a little bit higher up in the costume shop, and I've been drapers, which is also higher up in a costume shop. So if you're starting out as an intern, maybe you're a sophomore in college, you might be making less than that, but make sure that there's some money involved. The third thing that I always look for to maximize my summer stock experience, this doesn't make sure it's a good summer stock or a bad summer stock, but just that I'm going to have a good experience that's worth my time and adds to my resume, is I look to make sure that they have roles that I'm qualified for, or that I meet the qualifications for, that are bigger and better roles than I could get at a full-time seasonal theater. So that this is where you're going to build up that experience for, your dream job. Say you want to be a master electrician, but you just graduated college, so you don't have the experience to be that master electrician. If you can get that job in a summer stock, then you're going to have experience and build up your expertise in your field, so that eventually you can get those bigger full-time theater roles. What I've been doing is, I'm qualified as mostly a stitcher in the bigger theaters. So I work as a first-hander, I work as a draper in a summer stock so that I can eventually get to that dream role. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fourth thing that I look for when I'm interviewing at a summer stock, or that I try to like negotiate in, is travel. Summer stocks will not always pay for your travel. I've had a couple that did and a couple that didn't. And I've had one where I kind of negotiated travel. It wasn't originally listed, but I asked about it and they said, we'll see if we can make that work, and they could. So again, this one is like, this doesn't make it a good or a bad summer stock if they don't pay for travel. But it's something to ask about, because especially if you're traveling to another state for this role, like, it doesn't hurt to ask. And you know, sometimes it works out for you. So that's another thing to look for. And finally, here are some red flags that you should look out for to know that maybe you want to avoid that summer stock. So first of all is the hours. They're not going to advertise their hours of the shop that you're working in, or your rehearsal hours if you're an actor. They're not going to advertise that in the job listing. So that's something you need to ask about in the interview. That is like always my very first question when they open it up for my questions is, what kind of hours does your costume shops keep? I have worked in a summer stock where I got to work at 9:30 in the morning, and on a good day I left at 11 p.m. and I would work that 7 days a week. We had one company day off, and that was really hard and honestly not okay. These summer stocks are not paying you a real wage. They're usually paying you a stipend, and they're not giving you benefits besides food and housing. So they do not get to burn you out like that. You will get, even though you think you're young and spry, you will get burned out working 15-hour days, 7 days a week. You are there to work, but you should also get time to rest. So when you're in your interview, make sure that you are not working more than 12 hours a day as a bare minimum. They should be operating like a professional theater and only doing 8 hours a day, except during tech, obviously. So make sure that they are working a number of hours that you are going to be comfortable working, and that you get a day off. How often that day off is up to you and like your standards for yourself. My minimum is 1 day off a week and 8 hours a day. I'll go up to 10 if we're running behind or I have to. Like, there are extenuating circumstances where I'll work more than I usually like to, but it can't be every week and it can't be every day that I'm working more than 8 hours. That's unfair and that's abusive, and we don't want jobs that abuse us. That's too common in theater, so we have to start standing up for ourselves young, and the hours is one way to do that. The second thing that I've come to realize is a red flag is no quote-unquote real adults working as heads of shops. The summer stock that I worked at, where I was working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, my costume shop manager was the same age as me, and I loved her. She is a wonderful person. But I think sometimes when everybody in the shop is, sort of young and sort of inexperienced, then the people above them in like general theater management and in the administration can kind of, they can ask for more than they would get from people that are their own age and have more experience. And that can lead to abusing your employees and making them work 15 hours a day. So I think it's really important to have heads of shops that are a little more experienced than a college student that can say like, no, we're not doing that, or this set is too complicated, we're not going to be able to make it in the time we have. Somebody to advocate for those younger people. So that is my summary on summer stocks. I hope you enjoyed it and it's useful for you. If you have questions about summer stocks that I didn't answer in this video, go ahead and put them in the comments, and maybe I'll do another one to answer those questions.